Exclusive contract from Feilu Novel Network Novel. Online game. Carrying a trillion of mechanical legion with you at the time of the downfall of humanity, Luo Li returned to the beginning of the opening of Star River 5 years ago and obtained the only high-level talent, Mechanical Heart. From then on, he mastered countless mythological mechanical creations that transcended the times, formed an army, established a country, and roamed across the Milky Way. Mechanical Heart. Gain experience x 10 times and randomly increase the quality of the machinery produced by 1 to 2 levels each time. Upgradeable. Orbital bombing satellites, Death Gun, Star Ring Armament, Star Destroyer Cannon, Endless Mech, Phantom Battleship, Super Carrier, Titan Fortress, and Endless Mechanical Sea in personal warehouses. Explore the endless sea of stars and challenge infinite civilizations. Based on billions of river systems. Founding an invincible fleet, the highest equipment country. Ultimately, the entire universe, all dimensions, will have only one sound, our Lord, Luo Li. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. Rebirth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Congratulations, your purchase was successful. The game helmet is expected to be delivered in 2 hours. I succeeded. Watching his mobile account being deducted to only 1 digit of his savings, Luo Li breathed a sigh of relief, and his high-hanging heart finally subsided. He, who had just been reborn for less than 10 minutes, realized his situation. I immediately opened the official website of Star River at the fastest speed in my life and managed to grab one of the first batch of game helmets before they sold out. Although this helmet, priced at 200,000 Chinese dollars, has depleted almost all of his savings, making it impossible for him to even afford next month's rent. However, all of this is worth it. Star River is a virtual reality game set against the backdrop of cosmic galaxies and billions of civilized planets. Its production and distribution company is just an unknown small game company. In history, during the initial release of this game, there was almost no promotion or attention. All discussions are limited to its small player base. However, including the producers. No one knows. This game is actually a real universe. For years later, as the game updates its 7th version, all humanity will travel into that cosmic world. Among them, players who have played the game will merge with the game character and obtain all the abilities and assets of the game character. People who have not played games will appear as indigenous civilians on the novice planet, becoming the lowest level residents in the area. The original status, power, and wealth on Earth will be completely shattered, losing any meaning. That is a new era, a new era. In the previous life, Luo Li's luck was not very good in that new era. Due to being too niche in the early stages of Starry River, I was unable to enter the game in a timely manner. Until the game was updated to its 4th version, which sparked a nationwide craze. I followed the crowd and logged into the game in the Internet Cafe Experience Hall, becoming an ordinary martial artist. Missing the excellent early development period and without any adventures, Luo Li. No matter how hard you try, your achievements are always mediocre. Finally, of course, in the face of the invasion of river-level civilizations, he, with no resistance, turned into dust along with the planet he lived on. It's really miserable. Recalling the beam of light that shattered the clouds and melted the mountains and cities before his death. Luo Li shook his head, still feeling some palpitations. Fortunately, all of this has become a thing of the past. Since reborn, everything will be rewritten. Taking advantage of the free time before the helmet was delivered, Luo left the bathroom and took a shower, then cooked another full meal. When he finished taking care of all his personal affairs, the doorbell just rang. The game helmet has been delivered. After signing for it, Luo Li skillfully connected the game helmet to the power and waited for the self-check to complete. Then choose a good posture and put on the helmet with sharp movements. It is worth mentioning that game helmets were already on sale a month ago. Although there was already very little left when Luo Li bought it, he almost couldn't buy it. In fact, the time he entered the game was at most less than 2 hours away from the first batch of players to enter the game. He is a true pioneer player. Enter the game. Welcome to Xinghe. Unique identity binding successful. Please create a role. The creation of characters and the selection of professions in Star River are the same, and once determined, they cannot be changed again. Considering that players are unable to register for a second account, this decision at this moment may even have an impact on their future life both inside and outside the game. Or continue to choose the martial artist from the previous life. Luo Li was somewhat hesitant. There are 3 types of professions available for players to choose from in Xinghe. Superpowers, martial artists, and mechanics. Superpowers focus on spiritual cultivation and can be combined with genetic modification to obtain abilities such as psychic power and cell regeneration. It's a bit like the mages and priests in traditional online games. Martial artists focus on improving their physique and are able to wield and strengthen various cold and hot weapons. Integrated attack and defense, with excellent endurance. Mechanists, on the other hand, are similar to craftsmen and summoners. You can manufacture mechanical items yourself or control them for combat. In the experience posts summarized by future players, martial artists are the most cost-effective profession, followed by superpowers, and mechanics are the worst. Why mechanics are the worst? Nothing else, just one reason. It burns too much money. Mechanical items that mechanics can manipulate require the installation of special quantum communication devices. This device will consume the energy of the mechanical items themselves, reducing their defense and durability. At the same time, the hidden energy possessed by the mechanic will constantly erode the mechanical items being manipulated. In other words, the same firearm. In the hands of a martial artist, as long as there is enough ammunition, it can be used forever. A higher-level martial artist. Even utilizing one's professional skills, one can enhance its power to be comparable to a rapid-fire gun. If it falls into the hands of a mechanic, it can only be a disposable item. Perhaps after a battle, the durability will return to 0 and be completely scrapped. Every battle is burning money for the mechanic. And it's still the kind that burns in batches with a flamethrower. Not a tycoon among the tycoons, I can't afford it at all. No, you can't choose a martial arts school. The later a martial artist advances, the more difficult it becomes. Unless they obtain the core source material of the starry beast, the innate defects in human physique will keep them stuck in the B+ level forever, and the chance of breakthrough is very slim. In the previous life, this was not a problem for Luo Li at all. He, who is not wealthy in life, can only choose a martial artist to make a living by relying on games. As for the upper limit of martial arts. In fact, it was not until his final death that Luo Li was able to reach the rank of 170 cubic centimeters. There is still a long distance that may take a lifetime to cross from the B+ level of 240. But now, since he is reborn, the rank of B+ will never be his endpoint. So, martial artists are not an option. Even superhumans are not good. Overemphasizing spiritual cultivation weakens their survival ability. It's hard to say when someone will give them a cold shot and they will die. So it seems that the only option is a mechanic. Excluding the label of a cryptocurrency tycoon, there is almost no limit to the number of mechanics who can manipulate mechanical creations. The potential and combat effectiveness displayed by these mechanics are simply despairing. In the absolute gap of strength, the experience of previous martial artists is not of much value. Luo Li's gaze wandered for a moment, gradually becoming firm. Starry River may seem like a game, but in reality, it is a real world. There is no such thing as career balance. If the goal is to become a great figure at the top of the Milky Way, then mechanics are undoubtedly the only shortcut. Krypton gold, then Krypton gold. Live a lifetime, are you still afraid of not making money? Create a character, Luo Li. Career choices. Mechanist. Chapter 2. Supreme Talent, Mechanical Heart. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Career selection successful. Detected that the player is carrying a mechanical heart, will receive a significant additional boost. Welcome, Mechanic Luo Li. The system's prompt sound, when speaking the last sentence, is no longer a cold routine, but comes with a soft voice. It seems like a lonely night watcher welcoming long-lost and reunited friends. Luo Li was slightly taken aback and quickly opened his character panel to check. I found that under the original beginner panel, I don't know when there were a few extra lines of entries added. Additional skill. Mechanical heart equal level. To advanced level feature 1. Gain 10 times more experience. Feature 2. Each time a mechanical item is manufactured, its quality is randomly increased by 1 to 2 levels. Feature 3. Upgradeable. Note. Your existence is an unparalleled miracle among mechanics. Taking a gentle breath, Luo Li couldn't help but widen his eyes. He almost doubted whether he had hallucinations. Advanced. This is a rating that has never been heard of even in the previous life, whether it is equipment, skills, or hidden knowledge. And the effects of Feature 1 and Feature 2, when leaked, are enough to drive countless players and indigenous people crazy. Even Luo Li himself feels crazy. 10 times the experience. All power systems in Star River are built around experience points. Character level, skill level, and item enhancement can only be improved by experience points. Even emphasizing enlightenment and requiring a series of demanding tasks to obtain career advancement and special skills, as long as one is willing to consume enough experience points, they can directly skip the intermediate process and complete it immediately. It can be said that experience is equal to strength. Just this one thing alone, even with his eyes closed, Luo Li can become the first player to create experience without thinking. And it's also the kind of first person who can tie up players from the second to the 100th place and hang them together. Compared to Feature 1, Feature 2 is even more exaggerated. According to the rules of Star River World. From the alloy arrows based on lower civilizations to the massive interstellar fortresses of higher civilizations. All weapons and equipment, as long as they come down from the assembly line of the military factory, are of ordinary white quality. Experienced craftsmen or formal mechanics usually produce items and equipment that fall within this category. At most, the production is more precise and has a higher durability. Only when they are willing to invest a certain amount of personal experience value, supplemented by precious minerals as materials, will there be a very small chance of producing green and rare quality equipment. As for the higher quality of blue elites, it needs to be personally crafted by master-level craftsmen, and they also have to pay a high cost that ordinary people cannot imagine. Experience points and rare minerals are not necessarily available. Star River is a real world, not a regular online game where wild monsters can refresh infinitely. Every experience value and origin of it are traceable, and every mineral has a real place of origin that can be traced back. Wanting to recklessly squander on item making can only be considered a delusion. Relying on massive resources and luck, gradually accumulating green and rare quality equipment from generation to generation in the long history is the mainstream of the entire Star River world. In this context, the random improvement of item quality by 1 to 2 orders in Feature 2 appears to be like cheating. This means that Luo Li does not need to invest experience points and precious minerals to produce green or even blue equipment in bulk, just like producing ordinary quality equipment. If you are willing to pay a slight price equivalent to someone else making green equipment, then it is not impossible to obtain the legendary purple hero equipment. Behind these price differences, they represent astronomical wealth. As long as given enough time, Luo Li can even use it to buy hundreds or even thousands of planets. The disadvantage of being a big spender in mechanics is no longer a problem. This is truly an achievement of dominating the entire server before even entering the game. For a moment, Luo Li couldn't even imagine where he would go in the future with this incredible advantage. Gazing at the attribute panel for a moment, Luo Li regained his senses and chose to enter the game. Golden Eagle Federation, Odo City, Western Suburban District. Luo Li opened his eyes and found himself in a dilapidated residential house. The initial identities given to players in Star River are all ordinary civilians with nearly negative assets. After entering the game, if players cannot find a way to earn their first money as soon as possible, they will soon fall into a state of hunger within 24 hours. If you're not lucky, you might even starve to death. Compared to other online games, it can be said that they face a difficult mode at the beginning. I'm not in a hurry to go out. Luo Li searched the room a little and found his identity document. Looking at the address displayed above, Luo Li quickly combined it with the intelligence in his memory. Odo City. Lucky enough, it happens to be a suitable place. Odo City is a medium-sized city with a permanent population of nearly 500,000. Located on the initial planet where the player lands, a major country in the northern part of the Blue Star Third Continent, at the border of the Golden Eagle Federation by the sea. The past life is one of the popular areas in player forums. Several key storylines that affect the historical process in the early stages of the game take place in this currently inconspicuous city. However, these have nothing to do with Luo Li for the time being. He is more concerned about how to quickly upgrade himself. There's no need to think about combat anymore. Before transitioning to a formal profession at level 10 or below, going to the wilderness is like dying. This is a very important information. In Luo Li's memory, the first batch of players to enter the game, because they knew nothing about the game and didn't make much preparation, rushed into the wilderness and wanted to level up like traditional online games. Then, of course, they were brutally slaughtered by those exceptionally powerful mutant creatures in the wild. More than half of the players handed over their first resurrection stone within 2 hours of entering the game. The cost is very heavy. Even more devastating than anyone in this era could imagine. Because there is a limit on the number of resurrections of characters in the Star River. Starting from character creation, players will only be given 5 non-tradable resurrection stones. Once all 5 resurrection stones are consumed, once the player dies again, their game account will be completely deleted and they will never be able to re-enter the game again in their lifetime. After being discovered by players in the future, this strict regulation caused a great wave of protests, even causing this game to plummet in external reviews. After half a year of opening the server, the entire circle of Star River games is still in a niche range. The overall number of players has always hovered within 1 million. And this is just the price in the game. In the future, when the world and reality in the game merge, all resurrection stones will still be effective. Those who have not entered the game and have their resurrection stones removed will have only 1 life, just like the local indigenous people. Players will receive corresponding resurrection times based on the number of resurrection stones in their hands. A resurrection stone is an opportunity in reality to regain life after death. Chapter 3. Life Skills. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At present, we can only find solutions in life skills. In the Milky Way, experience can be gained through battles, training, exploration, learning, and making mechanical items. In non-combat situations in the early stages, making mechanical items is the best way to gain experience. Of course, one prerequisite for this is that you cannot produce equipment of green rare quality or higher. Otherwise, not only will you not earn experience, but you will also have to invest a large amount of experience points in reverse. Thinking about it all, Luo Li opened his own attribute panel again. 0-level character attributes, with various values below 5, similar to ordinary indigenous civilians in the Blue Star region. However, as a special group of players, there are still some preferential treatment. Depending on the profession, everyone can acquire 2 initial skills for their own profession. Luo Li's 2 initial skills, one is mechanical affinity, which can increase the speed of assembling machinery by 5%. One is mechanical manipulation, which can remotely control mechanical items to participate in battles. Relying solely on these two skills may not be as effective as a formal professional. However, in the early stages of the game where players have not yet appeared on a large scale, there is still a lot of hope to deceive trial officials and impersonate mechanics to do a job without worrying about the source of production materials. If I remember correctly, a lot of trouble happened at a mechanical manufacturing workshop in the southern part of Otto City during this period. It should be easy to get in. As an individual, it is not an easy task to gain experience and improve character levels through manufacturing. The source of materials and how the finished product is sold need to be considered. Speaking of the source alone. In the Golden Eagle Federation, individuals have a certain limit on the materials they can purchase through legitimate channels. If they are military personnel, state officials, high-contribution citizens, or registered mercenaries and other special personnel, the quota is relatively lenient. But if it's just an ordinary commoner with little background, then the share that can be purchased is pitifully small. Basically only enough to make one or two of the lowest level lightweight crossbows. To obtain more raw materials, one must either go hunting and collecting them in the wild or purchase them at a high price in the black market. As for selling, it is even more troublesome. There is no need to think about legitimate stores, where the supply channels are all contracted by some famous craftsmen and mechanics. Newcomers don't even want to squeeze in. To handle one's own output, one can only slowly sell it in the black market or sell it to some second-hand merchants at a loss. Going back and forth, wasting a lot of time. The gains were also very few. In this context, joining a workshop and using other people's materials and channels to practice and get through the beginner phase is a very beneficial thing. And in Luo Li's memory, the mechanical manufacturing workshop that caused trouble was the best target. It belongs to one of the major arms manufacturers of the Golden Eagle Federation and is an industry under Olha's Industries. Although the workshop itself is not well known, it doesn't look very prominent. But in fact, it is a supplier of standard equipment for the second-rate security forces in several large and medium-sized cities on the federal western border. The daily consumption of raw materials and the production of mechanical items is an extremely large number. As an individual mechanic, it is almost equivalent to having an unlimited amount of materials to practice. As long as the body and energy can withstand it, there is sufficient energy, and there is no problem from non-stop production in the morning to evening. And because the workshop produces ordinary personal equipment from the second line, the production difficulty is not high. Even novice mechanics players can barely handle it. It can be regarded as a holy land for early game experience brushing. No one knows yet, otherwise the door of the workshop would have been trampled on by the players. As long as you get inside, you don't have to worry before level 10. Before going over, we still need to get a piece of mechanical equipment to carry with us. Without that as proof, our appearance will be no different from that of ordinary civilians. Not even the gate of the mechanical manufacturing workshop may pass through. Having made up his mind, Luo Li collected his identification documents. He continued to search the room and successfully found a lease agreement. Looking at the time above, there is still about half a month left to expire. The initial funds are also available. Luo Li is quite satisfied. Although the player's initial wealth is close to negative, it is not really without everything. This lease agreement, which has a 1/3 chance of appearing and has not yet expired, is something that can be exchanged for some money. Although not many were exchanged, it fell into the hands of Luo Li and was enough to be used as the first starting gold for snowball rolling. Pushing open the door, Luo Li came to the street. A lively atmosphere rushed towards us. The slum in the western suburbs where Luo Li is located is the most chaotic and crowded place in Odo City. More than half of the lower-class people in the city, as well as mercenaries who are not under government jurisdiction, gather here. Luo Li walked on the street, his gaze passing through the low buildings along the way, and he could vaguely see a few scattered collapsed buildings in the distance. It's either the location of the black market gang or the territory of monsters that haven't been cleared yet. Chapter 4. Rare Drones. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Blue Star is not a peaceful world. On this planet, humans, who have developed civilizations that are almost indistinguishable from the real world, are not the only hegemons. The ancient creatures that have survived from ancient centuries to the present day, the taboo monsters leaked from laboratories, and the terrifying alien beings suspected to come from beyond, are constantly fiercely competing with humans for space to survive. Most humans can only live in enclosed urban areas, relying on the food output of agricultural buildings for their livelihoods. In these urban areas, the most vulnerable slums often become frontline battlefields for monster raids. Every day, a large number of poor people die from monster attacks. According to the information in memory, Luo left the familiar path and arrived at a large garbage treatment plant. Take back the preface. In addition to regular shops and black markets, there is actually a third way to obtain raw materials for making mechanical items in the city. That is to search for mechanical parts with low damage rates in the discarded electronic waste pile, spend a small amount of money to repair them, and use them as new raw materials. This is actually not much different from the process of collecting materials in captured cities in the wilderness. However, in terms of revenue, one is in the sky and the other is on the ground. Ignoring a few expressions of vigilance, fearing that he would go and compete with them for territory, Luo Li walked straight to a dilapidated small shop without a sign. This is a unique waste collection station near the garbage treatment plant. Specially recycling anything valuable that garbage collectors dig up from the garbage dump, and then selling it to black workshops or those in need. Can be considered as a gray industry trafficker wandering between black forces and legitimate merchants. Luo Li, who has previous life experience, is not really prepared to go to the garbage dump to search for it on his own. Not to mention the efficiency, he first has to face the provocation and exclusion of garbage collectors who also rely on picking up garbage for a living. It is still a question whether it is possible to defeat the zero-level character attributes of Luo Li, which are no different from ordinary people. By contrast, since I have some money on hand, it would be more convenient to directly acquire. After all, Luo Li only needs a piece of equipment that can prove his identity as a mechanic. Entering the store, a lazy middle-aged man sat behind the counter and looked up at Luo Li, then lowered his head to continue reading the magazine in his hand. Luo Li didn't take it seriously and directly asked. I need an energy battery and a batch of As.T-type small mechanical parts. Do you have them here? Upon hearing that a business was coming, the middle-aged man reluctantly put down the magazine in his hand. But he still didn't stand up, just raised his hand and pointed to the shelf on one side. The As.T-type parts are all over there, you can choose them randomly. We do not guarantee quality and will not return them upon sale. Energy batteries are priced separately, 100 gold eagle coins. Can you check it yourself? No problem. Luo Li nodded, not surprised by the irresponsible words of the shop owner. I don't know how many times it has been processed, but if I am still responsible for after-sales service, then there is really a problem. After squatting on the shelf and picking for a while, relying on the convenience of being a mechanic who can easily analyze the structure of parts, Luo Li smoothly gathered all the materials he needed. He pulled over a woven bag, poured all the necessary parts in, and lifted it to the counter. With the addition of energy batteries, there are a total of 327 golden eagle coins. The middle-aged shopkeeper glanced and proficiently quoted the price. 300 yuan. I will use this rental contract to offset it. Luo Li returned the price and handed over his rental contract. The remaining half-month lease contract is worth exactly 300 golden eagle coins. But the actual value cannot be calculated in this way. Because there are always black households in slums who cannot rent through formal channels and are willing to pay a higher price to obtain such a contract. For middle-aged shop owners wandering on the edge of the gray industry, this contract is equivalent to a best-selling product that can be sold at any time. It's a house on Tylon Street. The middle-aged shop owner checked the contract and a happy expression appeared on his face. He simply put it away. Deal. Leave the waste collection station. Luo Li casually found an empty corner nearby and started assembling it on the spot. As a mechanic player, the two initial skills are not just simple bonus assembly speed and mechanical manipulation displayed on the data panel. When they are combined, there is also a default hidden effect. It can replace some simple processing workshops, allowing mechanics to ignore the environment, without the need for tools, and process less complex mechanical items by hand, while reducing some material consumption. This is also an important reason why a large number of low-level mechanics can still occupy a place in factories during the era of industrial assembly line explosion. The mechanical items that Luo Li wants to make are not complicated. The prototype comes from one of the several basic blueprints that the system gifted to players for free after choosing a mechanic profession. Therefore, even without any hands-on experience in the past, I quickly succeeded in making it. System prompt. You have successfully created a small drone. Experience value +3. System prompt. You have received a bonus from the mechanical heart effect, and your experience points have been changed to +30. System prompt. You are affected by the mechanical heart effect, and the quality of the mechanical items you create will be randomly increased by 1 level. System prompt. Your character's level has been raised to level 2. It's really fast. Looking at the mechanical items he had created, Luo Li couldn't help but take a soft breath. Knowing is one thing, but actual experience is another. Upgrading a character's level from level 1 to level 2 requires 30 points of experience. Although it may not seem like much, without the bonus of mechanical heart, at least 10 mechanical items need to be manufactured to meet the conditions. In the memory of his past life, the first mechanic player to reach level 2 took about 18 hours. And here in Luo Li, only 20 minutes have passed since entering the game. The difference between the two sides is almost like playing the same game. Besides, my luck is also good. The effect of mechanical heart on improving the quality of goods is not necessarily present. In terms of probability, the success rate of investing high costs and attempting to make rare equipment is the same as that of ordinary mechanics, both around 10%. The difference is that with the bonus of the mechanical heart, Luo Li does not need to pay any rare minerals or experience points. Moreover, there is a very low chance that there will be a +2 level blue elite quality. Casually throwing all the 5 free attributes obtained from the upgrade onto his intelligence, Luo Li carefully examined the drone in his hand, which was only the size of a basketball. At .003 reconnaissance type small drone. Quality. Rare, green. Weapon. 5.6 mm caliber single-shot pistol. Effective range of 200 meters. Load capacity of 15 rounds. Flight speed. 60 km per hour. Battery life. 2 hours. Range. Radius of 10 km. Durability. 7 points. Compared to ordinary small reconnaissance drones, it has 3 times more ammunition and can be used as a temporary combat weapon. Its other attributes have almost doubled. It has lived up to its rare quality. For his first work, Luo Li was quite satisfied. With this drone, he is no longer an ordinary person who is at the mercy of others. Walking in the slums, even if encountering unexpected monsters, there is not a chance of escape at all. 7 points of durability means it can be charged 7 times. If used well, a total of 14 hours of flight time is enough for a long time. Durability is also the most frustrating aspect for mechanics. No matter how high quality the mechanical equipment falls into the hands of mechanics, it must become consumables with a usage time limit calculated in hours. The profession of a tycoon is not just a boast. Chapter 5. Mechanical Workshop. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. A faint sound suddenly entered Luo Li's ear. Luo Li raised his head and noticed that at some point, several thin and frail trash guys were surrounding from both front and back directions. Judging from the way they hold steel pipes and machetes, it is obvious that they have come from a hostile source. We saw you coming out of the York store with something. Put it down, you can leave now. The leading trash guy had a fierce expression and a hint of greed. Is this robbery? Luo Li asked. Nonsense. If you want to survive, just hand it over quickly. It seems that Luo Li has not shown any threat, and the trash guys are getting closer and ready to move. Is that right? Luo Li released his hand and let the drone in his hand soar into mid-air. A black barrel protrudes from below the drone, slowly pointing towards the leading garbage man. So, now it's me robbing you. Clapping his hands, Luo Li looked at the leading trash guy with a casual gaze. A few trash guys surrounding Luo Li suddenly stiffened and became too scared to move at all. The leading garbage man was also frightened and stood for a moment, but soon a ferocious look flashed through his eyes. Lift up the machete in your hand, and be ready to strike with force. Don't be afraid, such a small drone can't even carry weapons. Bang! Before the leading garbage man could finish speaking, a firelight burst out from the muzzle of the drone. A narrow bullet hit him directly on the forehead, cutting off his remaining words. System prompt. Killing ordinary life forms earns you experience points +1. System prompt. You have received a bonus from the mechanical heart effect, and your experience points have been changed to +10. Without taking care of the fallen leader trash, Luo Li turned his head to look at the remaining few people. What about you? Do you want money or life? The trash guys all swallowed their saliva and trembled as they put down their weapons. Leaving the slums in the western suburbs, the surrounding environment immediately improved. Using the money he snatched from the trash, Luo Li called a taxi and rushed to the mechanical manufacturing workshop in the southern industrial area. Are you applying for a position as a mechanic? The gatekeeper scrutinized the young man in front of him with a skeptical gaze. Yes. My name is Luo Li and I am a beginner mechanic. Luo Li said without changing his expression. Under his control, a rare quality reconnaissance drone revealed complete combat mode and landed beside him from mid-air. A dim stream of light bloomed throughout the body. It's Yonan. As a security guard in a military factory who deals with mechanics year-round, the security guard quickly recognizes that it is a unique ability of mechanics. His attitude relaxed, and a smile appeared on his face, making a welcoming gesture. Okay, welcome to join us. I'll take you to the HR department to participate in the assessment. Good. Luo Li nodded friendly and quietly put away the drone, placing it in his backpack behind him. As a rookie at level 2, he still has a long way to go before becoming a formal beginner mechanic at level 10. The just few seconds of blessing on the drone have already consumed most of its hidden energy. If it takes a little longer, it will definitely reveal the truth. However, Luo Li is not worried about being exposed. The assessment of mechanical manufacturing workshops mainly focuses on assessing manufacturing capabilities. In this regard, except for the low reserve of Yonan energy, which requires a very long recovery time after making a mechanical item, there is not much difference from a formal mechanic in other places. As for those who have 10 times the experience of mechanical heart after officially joining, it won't be long before Luo Li can become a genuine beginner mechanic. There is no need to be afraid of not completing the tasks assigned by the workshop. As expected by Luo Li, the process of joining was very smooth. Soon, Luo Li was given his exclusive workspace and dormitory. The mechanical manufacturing workshop gave Luo Li quite generous treatment. The workspace and dormitory are both independent luxury suites, and all the daily necessities inside are high-end. Just calculating the value of these items alone can amount to hundreds of thousands of gold eagle coins. This money, if placed in the slums, would be enough to form a mercenary team of 100 people. Without spending too much time in the dormitory, Luo Li entered his own workspace after obtaining his permission card. The tools and raw materials in the workshop are all available, including the necessary drawings for production, which are fully stored on the tablet computer. As long as Luo Li is willing, production can start at any time. These are all experiences. Luo Li's gaze swept past the shelves, where rows of neatly stacked raw materials were seen as vast amounts of experience that he was about to gain. Of course, there's still money. The mechanical manufacturing workshop calculates the prices of finished products and raw materials with great precision. For the average mechanic, the remuneration earned is not considered substantial. However, it has almost no limit on the quantity of raw materials, and as much mechanical equipment can be produced, it can immediately provide as much raw materials as possible. This is an ideal place for mechanics from a civilian background who want to exercise their abilities, or for ordinary players who want to experience quick and safe gameplay. For Luo Li, it's not just that. With the bonus of Mechanical Heart feature 2, this unlimited production can also bring an unimaginable number of rare and elite equipment. For this part, only the raw material price of a regular equipment needs to be supplemented, and the remaining majority of the price difference can be put into Luo Li's own pocket. Coincidentally, as a special supply for military officers, the workshop will also purchase high-quality standard equipment from mechanics at market prices. You don't even need to find another channel for sale. After a moment of wandering thoughts, Luo Li did not delay any longer. He walked up to the production stage. First, input several free mechanical design drawings provided by the workshop into your own system, and then look at the manufacturing tasks. Picked the simplest one and started manufacturing on the spot. 3 minutes later, a brand new, ordinary quality assault rifle appeared on the workbench. System prompt. You have successfully created an assault rifle with an experience value of +2. System prompt. You have received a bonus from the Mechanical Heart effect, and your experience points have been changed to +20. There is no effect of triggering quality improvement. The original experience only has 2 points, which is lower than drones. This should be the mechanical item with the least experience given. Luo Li's expression was calm and he was not disappointed about it. Having sufficient supply of raw materials, having more or less experience with individual mechanical items has little impact. The consumption of Yoneng is somewhat unexpected. Thinking of this, Luo Li glanced at the character data panel. The supernatural energy value above has completely reset to 0 after manufacturing the assault rifle. It seems that it won't be possible to continue in the short term. Sighed. Resist the impatience that emerges from the bottom of your heart. Luo Li found a place to sit down and began to rest with his eyes closed. It takes a long time to restore Yoneng. At the current level of a novice mechanic, Luo Li's hidden energy can only recover a little every 10 minutes. According to this actual operation, the energy consumed to manufacture an assault rifle should be between 6 and 8 o'clock. Coincidentally stuck at the upper limit of level 2 characters 8. Point hidden energy value. This means waiting for at least an hour before Luo Li can continue to manufacture the next standard equipment. If nothing unexpected happens, I should be able to advance to level 8 tomorrow night. At that time, the energy recovered every night can be fully utilized during the day without worrying about missing out on time. The first stage of the beginner's phase is considered complete. Before that, let's liver him for a day and a night. Chapter 6. Rapid Upgrade. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Time passes quickly in Luo Li's repeated production. Unconsciously, it arrived at dusk the next day. System prompt. You have successfully created a silver-scale bulletproof vest with an experience value of +4. System prompt. You have received a bonus from the Mechanical Heart effect, and your experience points have been changed to +40. System prompt. You are affected by the Mechanical Heart effect, and the quality of the mechanical items you create will be randomly increased by 2 levels. System prompt. Your character's level has been raised to level 8. Luo Li moved his slightly stiff body for a moment, with an indescribable excitement in his expression. Finally reaching level 8, I also brought out a blue elite equipment. Elite level equipment is not easy to produce. Luo Li has been working on equipment since yesterday afternoon until now, and has produced 5 rare green equipment. And the elite equipment is just this one that has just been released. In the military system of the Golden Eagle Federation, where the city of Otto is located, only school-level officers at the middle and upper levels can afford to purchase an elite piece of equipment at their own expense. These are all considered special benefits for the military. If it were for civilian mechanics, many would even reach the level of a high-level mechanic at level 40 without having their own elite equipment. Reaching out and gently touching the cold surface of the silver Lin bulletproof vest, an inexplicable sense of security arose. As Lin series bulletproof vests. Quality. Elite, blue. Defense characteristics. Immune to bullets below level 10, partially immune to flames and explosive damage. Clothing coverage, durability. 25 points. Energy level is a unit of measurement for evaluating weapons and equipment in the Blue Star world. When used on bullets, the 10 energy level refers to the destructive power of a bullet with an initial velocity of 1 km per second. At this level, it has almost reached the ceiling of conventional firearms. A more powerful concept weapon that will rise to the near future is the electromagnetic sniper rifle. Just the attribute of immunity to bullets below 10 levels, the silver Lin bulletproof vest is enough to match its elite quality. At the current level of Luo Li, wearing it is like wearing an invincible vest. This equipment must be left behind. With it, some difficult storyline tasks, as well as forbidden areas in the wilderness, can all be attempted. Holding back the heat in his heart, Luo Li made a decision without hesitation. Now, let's take a break offline for a while. Starting from yesterday's Rebirth and entering the game, Luo Li has been staying in the game for a day and a night, except for exiting midway to deal with physical needs. The body's load is approaching its limit. Leaving the game, Luo left the restroom for a simple wash. I hurriedly ate a takeout and then browsed the forum of the Star River game for a while before going to bed. Just like the development in memory. During this period, except for Luo Li himself, the highest level of players had just reached level 2. Almost all posting players are complaining about the high difficulty of the game, and going to the wilderness is like dying. Even a few players who were brutally abused were so angry that they posted posts about deleting accounts and games. In the era of technological development where Luo Li is located, a technological breakthrough in holographic games has already been achieved. On the surface, Star River games do not have any special advantages compared to other games of the same era. Players give up without any psychological burden. The first person in the Star River game. If it were to be placed 4 years later, it would be equivalent to being a leader of all humanity. Now, in everyone's eyes, it doesn't matter whether they recognize or not, just an ordinary player in an obscure game. Looking at the desolate popularity on the forum, coupled with the grandeur of the future that concerns the fate of all mankind, Luo Li couldn't help but feel a feeling as if witnessing historical changes. I slept for 5 hours. Luo Li climbed up with great perseverance, put on his helmet, and re-entered the game. Every minute and every second in the Star River game is precious. As long as Luo Li ensures that his body does not have any problems in the past few years, any hidden dangers will be completely eliminated when he merges with the game character in 4 years. The lifespan is long enough to be measured in thousands of years. Of course, if you really want to live 1,000 years from now, you still have to endure the deadly battle of future invasions outside the river system. This depends on the speed at which Luo Li becomes stronger in the game. Entering the game, Luo Li appeared directly in his workspace. Watching the raw materials replenished on the shelves, Luo Li took a deep breath. Continue the manufacturing process of brushing experience. In the evening. The character level of Luo Li has successfully reached level 10. The accumulated green rare quality equipment has also reached double digits. Unfortunately, apart from the elite bulletproof vest he received yesterday, Luo Li did not manufacture a second elite quality equipment. The character has reached level 10 and needs to complete the job transfer task to become a formal beginner mechanic before continuing to upgrade. However, to trigger a job transfer task, a series of prerequisite conditions need to be met first. The job transfer task does not appear immediately when the level is reached. It requires players to first learn all the basic knowledge related to beginner mechanics. The main attribute intelligence and secondary attribute endurance reach the standard values. At least 2 or more mechanics will only be triggered when their skill level reaches level 3. It may seem cumbersome, but in fact, it is already a unique treatment that countless indigenous people cannot reach and belongs to the players. Compared to the indigenous people on the Blue Star, the advancement of a mechanic relies entirely on years of personal training and understanding. If a level is not handled well, it may even be stuck for 10 or several decades. Players only need to complete the job transfer task step by step and can be promoted smoothly. The difficulty level between the two sides is so great that it is almost despairing. Luo Li is not in a hurry to trigger the job transfer task. Having previous life experience, he knows that the difficulty of job transfer tasks is almost completely random. What you draw purely depends on luck. There are simple difficulties that can be passed by sending a letter, as well as hell difficulties that require slaughtering all the monsters in a fallen city to complete. In order to ensure that the job transfer task is as smooth as possible, Luo Li plans to first increase all the combat power that can be improved before proceeding. Patiently continue to manufacture mechanical equipment for another day. Luo Li used the experience points he gained on this day to level both of his initial skills to the current highest level. Mechanical Affinity. LV5 level, increases assembly speed by 25%. Can parse all mechanical item drawings below level 15. Mechanical Control. Level LV5, can remotely control mechanical items to participate in battles. Current control distance, 300 meters. Chapter 7. The Legendary Bookstore. You are listening at novelfull.audio. With LV5 level mechanical affinity skills, in the future, as long as you obtain blueprints, you can create most of the mainstream individual equipment. Looking at the remaining unused experience points, Luo Li's heart twitched slightly. I thought of a very powerful equipment in the early stages. The overall rating of that equipment is also below 10 levels, and the drawings can be directly purchased in the market. But its performance is comparable to that of a monster. With Luo Li's current abilities, he is fully capable of making it. In addition, with the blessing of a mechanical heart, if he invests at any cost, he may even be able to elevate the quality of that powerful equipment to the elite level, or even higher. At that time, his combat power will definitely undergo further transformation. I haven't released any elite level equipment in the past 2 days. In theory, there is a high probability of A+2 quality improvement in every subsequent production. This adventure is worth a try. Having made a decision, Luo Li's actions also became swift. He first handed over the ordinary quality equipment produced in the past few days to the mechanical manufacturing workshop to fulfill the contract signed upon joining. Then, in addition to keeping 2 pieces for personal use, the remaining 9 rare quality equipment were sold to the workshop procurement department at market price. By completing these 2 operations, Luo Li's identity in the mechanical manufacturing workshop became a formal employee. With the authority of formal employees, Luo Li can freely move inside and outside the workshop. At the same time, with this permission, he can also borrow all types of basic knowledge of mechanics from the workshop for free. It can be used to meet the last prerequisite for triggering a job transfer task. Returning to the workplace, Luo Li counted his belongings. 3 rare equipment, small reconnaissance drones, tactical helmets, and assault rifles. A piece of elite equipment, a silver Lin bulletproof vest. 2 LV5 level initial skills. There is also a character level of 10. This is my current strength. In the Star River game. Rare and elite level equipment. The bonus to combat power is very frightening. In terms of combat effectiveness data alone, today's Luo Li is almost no less than the panel of his previous life, which was a level 20 martial artist. This kind of strength, even if it means breaking through the black market and triggering the plot, is enough. The powerful force gave Luo Li more ideas. In Luo Li's mind, he recalled a rumor that had once circulated on player forums. Near a small black market in the middle section of Iris Avenue in the slums of Odo City. There is a bookstore that stores a vast amount of knowledge related to mechanics. In that bookstore, there are even extremely special mechanical skills and rare drawings. Any player who goes in the past only needs to complete a not too difficult combo task to qualify for purchase. But the reason why rumors are rumors. It's because that unknown bookstore was destroyed in a fire shortly after opening its server. From then on, no one can benefit from it at all. Calculate the time, there are still a few days until the bookstore is burned down. It's perfect to verify the authenticity. Just say go and leave. Pack up your things. Luo Li put on all the equipment and searched for it according to the map. The streets of the slums are as noisy and crowded as ever. But perhaps it was the intimidation caused by the equipment on Luo Li's body, and the crowd crowded around him was much looser than when he first arrived. Occasionally passing by a mercenary carrying firearms, the gaze of the other party's bet also carried a hint of fear. Dyer's library should be here. Stopping at the entrance of a dilapidated and deserted bookstore, Luo Li looked up at the wooden sign hanging above. The sign is made by splicing wooden boards together. The edges have a slight mottled texture and green moss. The name of the store in the center is written crookedly, but it gives a somewhat cute feeling. It's as if the owner of the handwriting is a young girl who has never lost her innocence. Stepping into the store, the lights suddenly became dim. The damp and cold indoor air rushed into Luo Li's lungs with his breath, making him feel a bit uncomfortable. A very bad environment. Luo Li frowned and looked around, taking into account the structure of this small bookstore. The entire bookstore has limited space and no customers. A few bookshelves were arranged under the walls on both sides of the entrance, with only a few dozen sparse books and picture albums on top. The location directly facing the door is the darkest part of the entire store. A middle-aged woman who couldn't see her appearance clearly sat silently behind the counter, holding her chin with one hand and staring at the nearby bookshelf without focus. Do you have a blueprint for a lightweight power arm here? Luo Li coughed lightly twice, breaking the silence inside the store. Power arm drawings. The middle-aged female shop owner seems to have not regained her senses yet. She was interrupted by Luo Li's voice and froze for a moment before finally realizing it. Yes. 115,000 golden eagle coin. This price is clearly expensive. The rare quality reconnaissance drone from Luo Li only costs 300 golden eagle coins when combined with its raw materials. Although those raw materials are all dug out of the garbage heap, the prices have already been discounted countless times. But one can also indirectly see how outrageous this offer of 15,000 yuan island. Let me take a look first. Luo Li didn't rush to say anything, but calmly put forward the request for inspection. The middle-aged female shop owner was quite surprised. After hearing her quotation, Luo Li was still the first customer who did not show any anger. She stood up silently, turned around, opened the safe behind the counter, and carefully took out a yellowed blueprint from inside. MS. Design diagram of Dyer's lightweight power arm. Taking the blueprint, Luo Li glanced over and immediately noticed the two letters MS at the beginning. His pupils tightened slightly, and the shock in his heart was almost uncontrollable. Although Luo Li didn't do well in his past life, at least he managed to get into the 7th version of the game and set foot on a character in the starry sky. In terms of vision and knowledge, it surpasses all people in the current Blue Star world. No one knows better than him how significant the MS series is for mechanics. MS, short for Versatile Humanoid Mecha. A series of accessories related to it belong to the most cutting-edge mechanical creations. On the entire Blue Star, only the strongest individuals who have reached the level 60 Master Realm and are at the top of the entire world will begin to preliminarily enter this realm. In the history of the previous life. Even by the end of the 2nd version of the game, Blue Star had overcome the apocalypse and the entire planet was on the eve of merging into the Star River civilization world. There has never been a true humanoid mecha before. That is the cutting edge of cutting-edge technology. Chapter 8. Human Mech Components. You are listening at novelfull.audio. How could there be such a thing here? In just a few seconds, Luo Li's mood went from shock to disbelief. He continued to look down with a serious gaze, inputting the line-by-line parameters into the system log, and then using mechanical affinity skills to parse. The green fluorescence, which represents the successful passing of the test, constantly refreshes in his field of vision without any errors. This drawing is genuine. The middle-aged female shop owner handed over only a quarter of the complete version of the blueprint to Luo Li. It is not possible to build a power arm with this part, but there is no problem verifying the authenticity of the drawings. The price is very reasonable, I will take this design. Luo Li didn't bargain and simply took out the money. Afraid of saying one more word, the cooked duck flew away. The design drawings of the MS series, regardless of which part they are rare treasures that can be encountered but not sought after. I met you. If you can buy it, buy it. If you can't buy it, grab it. If you can't grab it, go back and practice. When you can win, come back and grab it. Anyway, as long as there is still a glimmer of hope, no matter what the cost is, it is worth striving for with all one's might. Are there any other drawings of the same type? Carefully placing the blueprint of the lightweight power arm into the backpack, Luo Li casually asked, still unsatisfied. The 9 rare equipment sold at market price to the machinery manufacturing workshop brought Luo Li over 60,000 gold eagle coins in revenue. He has enough confidence to ask such a question. There is also a blueprint for the core processor. However, I don't want to pay for this one. The middle-aged female shop owner looked at the silver Lin bulletproof vest on Luo Li's body, as if judging his strength. After hesitating for a while, some expressed their intentions with some uncertainty. If you have the skills of a mid-level mechanic, I need your help. I can send you the drawings for free then. Do you really have it? Luo Li was slightly taken aback, and his gaze towards the middle-aged female shop owner was somewhat off. Where did this seemingly inconspicuous middle-aged woman find so many blueprints that can be considered as weapons of governance? No problem helping. In this situation, a promise must be made. Even if the task is to annihilate the entire Golden Eagle Federation and then turn it into ashes, we must first occupy the pit before proceeding. After just a moment of contemplation, Luo Li cautiously added a patch to his words. However, my strength is only equivalent to that of a newly promoted mechanic, and if the difficulty is too high, it may take some time to prepare. Luo Li's words are not a lie. After he returns today, he will definitely start making lightweight power arms. With the addition of this powerful equipment and proper tactical planning, the combat power unleashed by Luo Li is already comparable to that of a moderately wealthy 25th level mechanic. If there is more time available, let Luo Li complete the task of transferring a beginner mechanic first. So, even the prefix, not very wealthy, can be removed. He is a genuine mid-level mechanic with combat power. As long as it's a mid-level mechanic, it's fine. In the slums, no one can beat a mid-level mechanic. Upon hearing Luo Li's reply, a hint of hopeful anticipation quietly appeared in the eyes of the middle-aged female shop owner. Okay, what do you want me to do for you? I want you to kill the leader of the Black Gold Society, the one-eyed giant Dink, said the middle-aged female shopkeeper, with a deep-seated hatred in her tone. He's a damn human trafficker. Cyclops Dink. Luo Li knows nothing about this name. But it's okay, he lowered his head and looked at his system log. As expected, the system triggered a temporary task. System prompt. You have triggered a C+ level task, Revenge. Task objective. Kill Ding Ku, the leader of the Black Gold Society smuggling hall, who is stationed near Tylon Street. Task deadline. To be determined. C+ level tasks. The system's rating of task difficulty is based on the player's current strength. The difficulty level of C+ is equivalent to the strength of the task target, similar to that of Luo Li. The possibility of victory or defeat in a frontal battle is divided equally. How could such a difficult task reward a design drawing of a humanoid mecha component? Luo Li widened his eyes slightly, as if he had found a huge sum of money for nothing. According to the task description, it seems that both sides have equal strength, and the victory or defeat is entirely determined by fate. But I can't resist Luo Li meeting and hanging up. The lightweight mechanical power arm and the transfer task for beginner mechanics have not yet been obtained by Luo Li. This part of the combat power has not been included in the calculation scope of the system. This means that once Luo Li is fully prepared, waiting for him is just a battle between adults and children. It's difficult to fail. Looking up, Luo Li looked at the middle-aged female shop owner. I have taken on this task. At the latest, 3 days, I will go find his trouble. The time limit of 3 days is very delicate. Not only does it prevent the task from becoming unpredictable due to prolonged delays, but it also leaves enough room for Luo Li to complete the job transfer task first. I'm waiting for your good news. The middle-aged female shop owner also has no objection to this time. She relaxed, as if she had thought of something, and then said to Luo Li. By the way, I still have some advanced mechanical theory knowledge in my store. If you're interested, you can come and browse through it. I'll give you it for free. The knowledge of intermediate and advanced mechanical theory corresponds to the fields of intermediate and advanced mechanics. When Luo Li is promoted to a higher level in the future, he cannot avoid the prerequisite knowledge that triggers job transfer tasks. In most countries of Blue Star, these are already regulated content. Without a certain level of authority and status, it is difficult to access. Is there such a good thing? Luo Li suddenly remembered that the reason why Dyer's Bookstore became a legend in the player forum was due to these originally regulated advanced knowledge. Thank you first. When I'm free these days, I'll come over and take a look. After bidding farewell to the middle-aged female shop owner, Luo Li went to the small black market and made a lot of purchases. Carrying a huge amount of over 40,000 gold eagle coins left, Luo Li was extremely happy to spend the money. Have a good shopping addiction. However, he did not spend money recklessly. He only purchased necessary raw materials according to the requirements of the drawings. It is worth mentioning that even the ultra-high-end lightweight power arm of the MS model only requires some common basic components. At most, there are stricter requirements for quantity and size. Luo Li bought the entire set of parts and has not even spent half of the drawing price in golden eagle coin. In contrast, in order to improve the quality of the manufactured lightweight power arm, the expensive minerals that play a catalytic role that were purchased actually cost Luo Li a great deal. Almost returned to extreme poverty as a result. Chapter 9. Mechanical Power Arm. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. This is just a set that has a 1 in 10 chance for ordinary mechanics to evolve the power arm from ordinary quality to green rare quality ore. No wonder there are so few rare equipment on the market. Having personally experienced the difficulties of an ordinary mechanic, Luo Li didn't wander around anymore. He quickly rode back to his workshop. Place the materials used to make the lightweight power arm on the workbench in sequence. Luo Li felt uneasy and took out the blueprint again, carefully studying the steps above. In addition to browsing, due to the relatively abundant time in the workplace, Luo Li had free time to discover more information from it. The drawings are handwritten. The handwriting is light and beautiful. It seems like a gentle and intelligent girl with a hint of mischievous cunning, carefully commenting on her own insights. Luo Li looked at these handwriting and vaguely felt a sense of familiarity. He thought about it carefully and then noticed that these handwritings seemed to come from the same person as the few words on the bookstore sign. The only difference is that one was written in childhood, and the other, like growing up. Is the original author of this blueprint named Dyer? Put away the drawings. Luo Li silently prayed for a while before starting the production process. Invest 500 experience points to build a special manufacturing environment. Invest in K Hongshire to improve the material's melting point. Invest silver sparrow stone to accelerate the filtration of impurities. Invest in xylene alloy. Precious minerals were systematically invested by Luo Li and constructed from experience points, suspended in a temporary red energy pool in mid-air. Each operation means burning down hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of golden eagle coins. After the 15-minute-long production of reading strips, the brilliant brilliance poured down from the self-formed robotic arm, like a galaxy flowing in the night sky. System prompt. You have successfully manufactured an MS-001 type lightweight mechanical power arm with an experience value of +35. System prompt. You have received a bonus from the mechanical heart effect, and your experience points have been changed to +350. System prompt. Under the catalysis of high-quality minerals, the quality of the mechanical power arm sublimates to rare, green, quality. System prompt. You are affected by the mechanical heart effect, and the quality of the mechanical items you create will be randomly increased by 2 levels. System prompt. The quality of the MS.001 light mechanical power arm has been increased from rare, green, to hero, purple. The prompt sound of the system sounds like a heavenly melody in my ears. Luo Li let out a soft breath and eagerly looked at the newly fired equipment. Dyer's lightweight power arm, left. Quality. Hero, purple. Attribute. Strength +225, power arm coverage, immune to any form of damage below level 50. Additional skill. Extreme burst, control the power arm to collide with enemies at supersonic speed, damage +25%. Cooldown, 25 seconds. Durability. 2,500 points. Closing his eyes, Luo Li slowly calmed down his emotions. After a while, he opened his eyes again. The equipment details that come into view still remain unchanged. This time, it's even better than the best situation imaginable. Purple hero quality. As described, it is a top-level equipment that only heroes who rank at the pinnacle of human elites are eligible to possess. The Golden Eagle Federation is the only one recorded to hold hero-level equipment. It was their founding general 200 years ago. General Michael Patrick, who once led troops to destroy several small countries. And now, at this moment, on this land of the Federation, Luo Li will become the second person to hold hero equipment since the founding of the Federation. Step forward and install this power arm onto the left arm. The silver streamlined power arm automatically adjusts and fits perfectly with the arm. Start. Luo Li issued a command in a low voice. The power arm attached to his left arm trembled slightly, and a magnificent starlight like a galaxy appeared on the surface. The surging force, starting from the left arm, swept through Luo Li's entire body. At this moment, Luo Li felt as if he could collapse a building. This is not an illusion, but the real data transmitted by the power arm to Luo Li. Count the properties of this power arm. Strength plus 225 points, equivalent to the basic strength attribute of a level 45 martial artist who did not receive a profession bonus. Under this terrifying force, dismantling tanks and buildings with bare hands can be easily achieved. Being immune to all damage at level 50 means that the electromagnetic guns on the warship cannot penetrate the armor of the power arm. Of course, if an electromagnetic gun really hits, there is no need to destroy the power arm. Just the collision between it and the power arm can turn all parts of Luo Li's body except for his left arm into a mist of blood. Additional skills are symbols unique to hero-level equipment. It is equivalent to giving Luo Li an additional combat skill called Extreme Burst. You should know that Luo has only 2 initial skills so far. Also, the last 2,500 durability points. This dazzling durability almost made Luo Li think he was seeing an illusion. With the current combat intensity of Luo Li and the durability of this value, he can even carry the power arm for a year to come. Transformed consumables into permanent weapons. With this equipment, I can pretend to be a martial artist. Moreover, I am a senior mid-level martial artist. Luo Li made a judgment for himself. The novelty of obtaining hero equipment only lasted for a short period of time. As one adapts to the power that new equipment brings to oneself. During his break, Luo Li borrowed all the basic knowledge of machinery from the mechanical manufacturing workshop. As a mechanic, Luo Li actually had a very short time making mechanical items. More often than not, I am still waiting for my own hidden energy to recover. In the gap between the recovery of Yonan, Luo Li can fully use it to read these basic knowledge and make up for the last shortcoming in triggering the pre-job transfer task. If nothing unexpected happens, you can finish learning all the basic knowledge tomorrow evening. At that time, the job transfer task should appear. For the upcoming job transfer task, Luo Li has some vague expectations. His first formal battle since entering the game may appear in that mission. 20 hours later. System prompt. If all prerequisite conditions are met, trigger the job transfer task. Job transfer task. Survive. Task difficulty. A+, task objective. Escape from the industrial area of Otto City. Task description. A large number of industries under the Orhold Industries umbrella are about to be attacked by a mysterious organization. As a formal employee of Orhold Industries, please survive this attack. Chapter 10. Assault. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. A+ level difficulty. Luo Li's expression changed slightly. This difficulty represents a very low chance of winning for Luo Li. Luo Li now has a hero-level equipment in his hands. The comprehensive combat evaluation is comparable to some senior mid-level professionals. Perhaps even within the entire industrial area of over 100 square kilometers in the city of Otto, it belongs to the ranks of the strongest. Such Luo Li still faces great danger to his life. What kind of scale will the incoming enemy be? This is definitely the most challenging job transfer task. Luo Li really didn't expect that he would also have the misfortune of being assigned a hell-level job transfer task. This is much less likely to occur than a simple job transfer task that passes just by sending a letter. Boom. Not giving Luo Li more reaction time. At this moment, a loud noise suddenly came from outside. The entire workspace felt like it had been hit by an earthquake, with violent shaking. It came so quickly. Heart tightened, and Luo Li dared not delay. He quickly put his combat equipment on his body, opened the door, and rushed out. 2 soldiers wearing purple combat uniforms, clearly intruders, were standing on the aisle outside. They saw Luo Li opening the door and without saying a word, they carried their submachine guns and fired at him. Luo Li instinctively rolled and avoided shooting. Then activate the power arm, causing a piercing sonic boom in the left arm and punching towards an approaching intruder. The other person's body emitted a crisp sound of bone cracking, their entire body arched into a ball, carrying terrifying force and falling towards their companions behind them. System prompt. Kill the intruder X2 and gain experience points +8. System prompt. You have received a bonus from the mechanical heart effect, and your experience points have been changed to +80. We can all encounter enemies here. It seems that the entire machinery manufacturing workshop has almost fallen. The location of the Luo Li workshop is located at the deepest part of the workshop. It is the area with the most rigorous supervision in daily life. The intruder's ability to reach here also represents the complete collapse of the workshop's defense system. Let's leave this building first. With a slight freeze in his eyes, Luo Li held his rare quality assault rifle in his right hand, and his left power arm remained activated, swiftly kicking open the safety fire door at the end of the hallway. Boom! Another loud explosion sounded. This explosion clearly occurred beneath the building where Luo Li was located. The entire 17-story complex building tilted slightly and then collapsed with a loud bang. Luo Li, who had just run to the escape staircase, inevitably fell down along with the floors. Cannot be buried. Luo Li, who was falling, made a decisive decision. The surging force from the lightweight power arm swept through the whole body, crushing the nearby concrete wall with one foot and breaking through the nearby window with the help of the momentum. People are in mid-air. Luo Li rolled several times in a row, unloading most of the momentum, and finally landed unharmed in the green belt downstairs. The situation outside is not as bad as Luo Li imagined. There are still many security personnel fighting against intruders in the square and other buildings inside the workshop. Not a one-sided defeat. Quickly see the form in the venue. Luo Li shot down several nearby intruders with his assault rifle in his hand. With familiarity with the terrain, I successfully avoided others and hid behind a warehouse. The attack came too suddenly, without bringing any additional ammunition boxes. The assault rifle has only 12 rounds of ammunition left. The ammunition for reconnaissance drones is full, but unfortunately the pistol bullets are not very useful. After counting his ammunition situation, Luo Li felt somewhat helpless. From the intruders we have encountered so far, they are all soldiers wearing ordinary bulletproof vests and having received military training. The firepower of drones is difficult to pose a threat to them. Next, his main combat style is probably to rely on light power arms for close combat. After thinking about it, I didn't rush out of my hiding place. Luo Li is manipulating the reconnaissance drone and soaring into the sky. The entire industrial area is gradually being brought into the view of drones. Then the screen went black, and the connection between Luo Li and the drone was instantly cut off. Destroyed, the opponent has anti-aircraft weapons. His face darkened slightly, and Luo Li's mood became a bit solemn. Ordinary thugs wouldn't have such a tight air defense force. The invaders are likely a regular army. This means that he did not encounter a short-term riot, but was trapped on the battlefield. Close your eyes. Luo Li carefully recalled the last footage transmitted by the drone. The most intense clashes occurred in the Magnetic Fluid Research Institute to the east and the Precision Chip Manufacturing Bureau to the northwest. If you want to leave the industrial zone nearby, you must pass through one of the places. If you don't want to be affected, you have to choose another direction to break through. But in this way, the distance is much longer and the danger is not small. After thinking for a while, Luo Li decided to take a detour. Important places like research institutes are definitely the main targets of intruders. The probability of appearing strong is very high. Luo Li is just an ordinary life employee, holding a piece rate exchange for compensation. There's no need to force yourself over to join the fun. The key is that there hasn't been much benefit yet. The main task now is to complete the job transfer. Take a deep breath. The architectural layout of the industrial zone comes to mind. Luo Li controlled the light power arm and plunged his palm into the wall behind him, using his strength to lightly jump over the wall. Along the way, With the bonus of the power arm, Luo Li easily solved several waves of intruder teams that met on narrow paths. Entering a small alley at the corner, Luo Li suddenly stopped in his tracks. He raised his power arm with a guarded expression to block in front of him. More than 10 meters ahead of him, the wall cracked without warning. A metal scorpion measuring 3 to 4 meters in length appeared in his field of vision. Discover the mechanic. Eliminate. The metal scorpion's eyes flickered with red light, and after locking onto Luo Li, he jumped high and charged straight towards him from a high position. Extreme explosion. Without time to dodge, Luo Li decisively used the skills attached to the mechanical power arm. The silver robotic arm instantly produced a huge sonic boom, carrying a dazzling stream of light, facing the metal scorpion's attack head-on. Bang! A dull low growl emanated from the air. A metal scorpion weighing several tons was punched by Luo Li and hit to the ground, with electric arcs running wildly on its body. The enemy's threat level is extremely high. Turn on high-energy rays. A deep red glow gradually gathered on the tail of the metal scorpion. Amazing heat diffused from it, scorching like the scorching noon sun. It cannot be emitted. The premonition of danger in the heart is filled. Luo Li's body was tense, and he ran straight behind the metal scorpion like a cheetah. Ignoring the matter, he drove the power arm towards the core position of the red light cluster. The red light bloated, and the temperature skyrocketed to 6,000 degrees Celsius just before Luo Li approached. But the temperature close to the surface of the star cannot resist the thrust of the robotic power arm. With a click, accompanied by a faint sound of glass shattering, the entire red light cluster broke apart in an instant. Inside the collapsed light cluster, the massive power of the carrier was lost, and in an instant, it transformed into a dazzling arc light, starting from the metal scorpion tail and penetrating its entire body. System prompt. The lightweight mechanical power arm is subjected to severe vibration, with a durability of 0.4. System prompt. Kill the level 26 mechanical creation metal scorpion, experience value plus 325. System prompt. You have received a bonus from the mechanical heart effect, and your experience points have been changed to plus 3250.